Hello, everyone, and welcome to J is for Justice. I am your host, Jay, with you today, and welcome to my channel. If you like what you see here today, please consider subscribing. And if you could give this video a thumbs up, that is always greatly appreciated.
Guest on a podcast called J is for Justice.
I think there's just hope that she returns no matter what. Oh my God, that's Megan's house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then,
wait a second, you guys. We have breaking news. All of a sudden in the chat, there was breaking news that there was a raid going on in Houston, Texas. It may be connected to a high-profile case.
That's her best friend.
First of all, I just want to let everybody know that we support your channel 100% and believe in what you're doing.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
When Chris was in North Carolina, how many times did you see him when he was out there that summer, 2018?
The 6 weeks she was down here, he came down for the last week, and that's when they went to the beach and stuff. Of course, we went down to the beach at the same time. We said we were 5 miles apart, and never got to see him because she wouldn't allow it. And we got to see him one day, the day before they left to go back, more or less. It was, they stopped down to see my mother when she's in a rehab center. She was 93 years old. And she wouldn't bring him by here. We had to go pick him up there. I did. And he spent the afternoon here at the house. And me and Cindy and Jamie and Robert and the kids and Jamie, other grandbabies. And we cooked out and just sat around and talked and stuff and hung out on the porch. And that's when he told me that she only knew that they wanted to get a divorce, and that he was looking for an apartment, for a little 2-bedroom apartment with bunk beds for him and the girls, because that's how his life was going to be from now on. He'd already more or less set a schedule up from a month or so out from that, so he'd, work the schedule, and he'd have them, 1 week, she'd have them next week, type thing.
So you guys did know he was getting separated or getting a divorce?
Well, that's the first we had heard of it. That she already knew about it. And actually, the house is already for sale on the market.
See, that's a big. I think people don't know that. People don't know that you guys knew that was even in the works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first. That's the first we had heard of it. Was that one day he got to spend with us? That week he was down here.
And how
was one afternoon actually?
How was he that day when he was with you guys?
He was pretty much upbeat and stuff. I mean, he knew what he wanted to do, and like you said, he told me he wanted a little 2-bedroom apartment with bunk beds for the girls. I mean, he was ready to move on with his life.
Yeah. Now, Chris wrote a letter when he was at your guys' house. Why did he write that letter? How did that come about?
The way Shanann had been acting, the 2 times she'd come down, 2 times she'd visit with us. Her and Cindy got into it a couple times, basically over minor things. One which everybody heard about was the nut gate, where she more or less said Cindy was trying to hurt Cece and give her ice cream and stuff, which she never gave her the ice cream, and it was a plain vanilla ice cream cup, which didn't have nothing in it, and it all blew up on that when she accused Cindy of trying to hurt Cece by giving her something with nuts in it, which we all knew she couldn't have nuts.
Right.
But that was, and the time before that, she'd come down twice, 2 weekends in a row. And the time before that, when my neighbor had passed away, and Cindy went to get her hair fixed and stuff, and she come by my work and signed some paperwork on the card that we was getting, and she was gone, probably 3 or 4 hours or whatever. And she called my phone at work, blowing it up, because Cindy left her phone at the hairdresser, and had to try and go back and get it, which made her later. And Cindy offered beforehand. She said, "I'm going to go ahead and take you back to 7 pounds an hour." I said, "No, I'll just wait till you get done with everything." And she fussing at Sunday, saying, "You left me alone with these kids for 5 hours." I said, "Well, they're your kids too. You're not down here for us to watch them 24/7.
Right.
Yeah.
When you first heard that Shanann and the girls were missing, what did you think?
I thought she'd just run off with the kids just to punish Chris for something. I thought she would just run off with the kids somewhere and just punishing Chris for something. That's just the way she is.
Right. When you picked up Chris from the airport, what did you guys talk about? And did he say anything in particular that stood out to you?
Not just one thing that really I didn't catch what he was saying. I mean, the police department, Frederick Police Department kept calling. One of the detectives there kept calling him and kept dropping the call. And every time we start talking, he'd call back again. And then Chris would talk to him a few minutes. He'd drop the call on bad reception or whatever. And he just said one thing, which it didn't make any sense to me at the time. He said, "So I wish I should have just went to the Rockies game that night," which it didn't click at the time. But,
right.
Now I know. But.
Right. So when he was talking to the police station, obviously some of that stuff has been released, but is there anything that, I mean, there's parts of it that were like fast forwarded through or redacted. Is there anything that you know that he said to you that wasn't released?
Yeah, because when we was talking, when he told me what happened, and told me where the girls were at, and he said, "Dad, I could not put them with her after what she did to him." And right after that, he said she was evil.
So they obviously they redacted that and didn't release that to the public. So everyone,
that's something kind of stayed in my mind when he said, when I found out where the girls were at, he said, "Dad, I cannot put them with her after what she did to him."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be a very hard thing to get out of your head for sure. So everyone talks about Chris's lack of emotions. Like explain to people like how emotional you are, how many times has Cindy seen you cry? Is that kind of just talk about, emotions in your family or how you and Chris are, I guess?
It's very seldom ever crying. The last 2 times I ever remember crying was at the memorial service we had for Bella and CC at the gravesite. I did cry there. And a few weeks later, I was at church when I got baptized, and we was all hugging and worshiping with the preacher and everything and talking. I was crying then. I think that's a long time she's seen me crying, probably last 20 years, probably.
Wow. And so Chris is, he looks like he's the same way. He seems like he's the same way.
Yeah, thanks. I hold a lot of things in, which he does too. And you can take it for what it is. That's why I was brought up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing to be sorry about. Everyone handles everything differently. So when you left, when you talked to Chris in the police station, so you actually had asked for an attorney at some point, and then when all of that was over, they walked you out. Did they let you come back to the police station the next day and see him again? Like, what happened after they walked you out that day?
After everything was over, they ended up taking me to a hotel, and because I couldn't stay at the house or anything, so I went to a hotel and I called back and stuff the next morning trying to find out where he was at, where I could see him and stuff. He said, "No, you can't see him." And actually never did tell me where he was at. They said he's not allowed any visitors or anything at this time. So I never got to see him again. I tried 2 or 3 times that day to get up with him. And that's when I was leaving, going back to the airport. That's when the defense lawyers called me. And I turned around and come back and talk to them that afternoon.
Did you get to see Chris when you were talking to them or no?
No. The only time we got to see him from the time of his arrest was the night before the plea deal. We got to see him. Each of us talked to him for 30 minutes on closed circuit TV.